This conference will now be recorded.
So in the previous session, we have discussed about executing SOQL queries through Apex programming. Then how can we execute the SOQL queries through Apex programming? And upon preparing the SOQL queries through Apex, so what are the various categories that Apex programming provides? And what exactly is static SOQL? What exactly the dynamic SOQL? How these two are different? How to prepare static SOQL, how to prepare dynamic SOQL, how to invoke static SOQL, how to prepare dynamic SOQL, and how to execute them, what kind of results these SOQL queries returns. If the query returns one single record as a result, how can we handle them? If the query returns multiple records as the results, how to handle it, we have discussed in the previous session. Now, so let's go with the practical use cases of static SOQL queries. At the last, we'll see dynamic SOQL queries as well. Now, so let's take a small use case. Write an Apex program to fetch all the account records from the object and represent on the debug log file. So my requirement is whatever the account records that we have inside my account object, I want to fetch all the account records and I want to represent them on the debug log file. Then how can we use static SOQL queries in order to represent the records on the debug log file? Now let's see with the practical use case. Now, so that already told you, whenever we are writing this SOQL queries code as part of real-time implementations, in real time, people are using three different styles. Upon writing the SOQL queries, the people are using three different styles. Then what are those three different styles? We'll see today, okay, by using three different examples. Okay, now let's go with the first approach by using this use case, a general approach. Now I would like to prepare an SOQL query which will collect all the account records from the object. Those records I would like to represent on debug log file. Then how can we do that? Okay, now let's see with the practical use case. I'm going to my Salesforce org now. I'm going to my Salesforce org. Let's go to the developer console. Now I would like to prepare a method. I want to prepare an Apex class with the name database helper. So in order to interact with the database objects, whatever the SOQL queries are required, those SOQL queries related code, I would like to write inside this class database helper. Database helper is my own custom class which I am going to prepare with this name. Now, here I would like to prepare a method. to write the business logic, to write the SOQL queries to fetch the data from the object. I'm preparing a method public static void get all accounts. I'm preparing a method with the name get all accounts. Okay, public static void get all accounts. In this method, I would like to write the piece of code to get all the records from the object through SOQL query. Now I want to prepare SOQL query which is of type static, not dynamic. Dynamic SOQL queries we'll see at the last. Now, tell me how to prepare static SOQL query. Hmm. Then how to represent whether it is static or dynamic? How can we identify? Right. Square braces. Whatever the SOQL query that we are preparing, if we are enclosing the SOQL query with these square braces, then it will be static. Now, if it is a dynamic, then single quotes. Okay, like as it will be storing in the form of a string variable. Right. Now I'm preparing a static SOQL query here. Select ID of the account, name, rating, industry, annual revenue, phone, and the fax, customer priority underscore C, active status underscore C. We can split the query to multiple lines also, no problem. Okay, next. From account. That's it. So now we have to specify. Use the keyword select keyword. Specify the fields which you would like to collect from the database object from object here. Now tell me this query will return how many records? How many records it will return? Do we have any guarantee? No. We don't know how many records are available in the object. I don't know. It may be zero records also, one also, two also, 100 also, 1000. I don't know. Suppose if I know the database is having only one record, then I can store the result within a single variable. But here I don't know that how many records my query is going to return. In that case, what is the return type that we can use? List collection, right?
List.
List. List of what? Why account? Because these are account records. To store the account record, we have to define the list collection of type account. LST accounts. Clear up to this one? Now. So now we are preparing an SOQL query which is a static SOQL. Now the query is going to be executing automatically. Whatever the records has been collected, those records will store inside this collection. Okay. Now tell me, do I need to execute that static SOQL query manually here? No. Static SOQL query will be executing automatically by its own. Yesterday we have discussed. Now, once a query has been executed, query will return some records. Those records will store inside my collection. Now tell me, I want to know how many records my query has returned. How can we check? Dot size method,
Size
right?
method.
System dot debug. Number of records returned. LST accounts dot size method. Next, after that, I want to show these records on my debug log file. So before collecting the record from that collection, that means in order to collect each and every record, we have to use a for loop. Now, suppose for example, in that case, if the collection is already empty, then we need to use the for loop to iterate the collection. No. So that here what I want to do is, first of all, I want to check whether this collection is empty or not. If the collection is not empty, then I would like to iterate the collection by using this enhanced for loop, collect each and every account record, we can represent them on debug log file. Okay. Then how to check whether collection is empty or not? Is empty, right? If list accounts that is empty. Now, when you would like to iterate, if the collection is not empty, so I'm using not operator here. If the collection is not empty, that means collection is holding some records, collection contains some records, then I would like to iterate the collection. So I'm using this for loop. Now tell me how to write this. Now, here we are using the column. This is the left side, this is the right side here. In the right side, what we have to write? Collection. That means in this right side, we have to indicate the data source where exactly the records has been stored. Now my collection is the data source over here. So pass that collection name. Now I'm passing this. Next, in the left side, what we need to do? Define a variable. That means in this collection, whatever the records are available, we are collecting each and every record. In this collection, we have so many account records are available, like as account record 1, account record 2, account record 3. Like that, multiple account records are there. We need to collect this record, it will store inside that variable. So, to hold this particular record, we have to define a variable. This record is of type what? Account record. Why this list is a account records collection? So define one variable of type account. So account some ACC record. Now I have given the variable name as ACC record. So it will collect each and every account record from the collection, store into this variable. Now we can represent the data on your debug log file here. Clear? Now I'm representing this. System.debug account record ID is ACC record dot ID. Like the similar fashion, remaining field values also I would like to represent. Account record name is ACC record dot name. Rating value is ACC record dot rating. Industry name is ACC record dot industry. Annual revenue is ACC record dot annual revenue. Contact number, that means phone number is ACC record dot phone. System dot debug. Customer priority is ACC record dot customer priority. Active status is active status. Once the whole record values has been visible, then I would like to give a line break. Because here after printing this first record, immediately it will print the second record. Then how can we differentiate, okay, whether the record is ended or not? For that one, I'm giving a line break over here. I'm giving a line break so that we can differentiate that. Okay, understand the concept here? Now, this is how we are going to be writing this piece of code in order to collect the records from the object. So that we have to prepare an SOQL query. Through the SOQL query, we can collect the records from the object, store them into the collection. Once the records are available in the form of collection, then we can represent the collection size. How many records are available inside my collection? We can see that. And then we can check if the collection is not empty, then I would like to iterate the collection from starting to ending by using this enhanced for loop, and each recorded data we can represent on our debug log file. Okay, clear? Now, let me execute this method. I would like to invoke this method from execute anonymous window. I'm calling this method database helper dot get all accounts. Okay, database helper dot get all accounts. Click on execute button. Now select the debug only checkbox. Now we can see the records. Total how many number of records are available in my account object? 24 records. Now from that one, this is the first record here. This is the record one. Then line break. This is the second record. This is the ID of the first record, name, rating, industry, annual revenue, phone number, priority, active status. Like that second record details. And then third record details, fourth record, fifth record, like that all the 24 records details we can able to see on your debug log file. Clear? Understand the concept here? Now, so this is how we can prepare our own SOQL queries as part of Apex programming. We can write the code, we can execute, we can see the results also on the debug log file. Okay? Now, this is the first use case. Let me place this code. You want to write this code? Make a note of this code. Order means hmm. Now based on some starting order, no, it won't follow any order. Randomly it will show. Okay, don't expect the same order like as account records in the table. If you want to arrange them in a specific order, we have a class order by class. By using order by class, we can arrange. Okay, we'll see in the next one. Done with this code? Now, let's take one more use case. Now here in this use case, I would like to show you a different mechanism of writing this SOQL query. Write an Apex program to fetch all the lead records from the object and represent on the debug log file. So I want to collect all the lead records from the lead object, and those records I would like to represent on my debug log file. That's my requirement here. Then how can we do this? Okay, now let's see with the practical use case. Done? Now let's see how to write this piece of code. Now I'm preparing one more method in this class. Public static void get lead records. I'm preparing a method with the name get lead records. Now in this method, I would like to write the piece of code to collect all the lead records from the object. Now, initially I'm writing the code in the previous manner. Whatever the way we have written the code for the previous use case, similar fashion I will write the code and then I will show you what is that optimized mechanism in that one. Now, I'm using a list collection, list of lead. Lst leads equals to, I'm preparing the SOQL query. Select the ID of the lead, first name of the lead, last name, title, company, status, rating, industry, phone and the fax, email from lead object. So I'm preparing this SOQL query. Now the SOQL query is going to be collecting all the lead records from the lead object. Those records will store into my collection here. Okay. Now don't write this code. I would like to make some changes. Now in this case, how many records my query has written? How can we check? Size method. System dot debug. Now collection size is, I would like to represent lst leads dot size. Then I would like to check whether the collection is empty or not. So I'm verifying this. If lst leads is not empty, if the collection is not empty, then I would like to iterate the collection. For loop. What we can specify? Lead some LD record from LST leads. That means I'm iterating this collection LST leads and I'm collecting each lead record I'm storing inside my reference variable. From there we can show the data. System.debug lead record ID is LD record.id. Now lead person name is, I would like to show lead record dot first name plus I'm giving a space lead record dot last name. Both I would like to represent. System dot debug. Company name is lead record dot company. Lead status is lead record dot status. System dot debug. Contact number is lead record dot phone. Email address is lead record dot email. Now, lead title, lead record dot title. Industry name is lead record dot industry. Then I'm giving a line break. System dot debug. I'm giving a line break. This is the piece of code. Okay. So like previously, whatever the way we have written the code, similar passion I have prepared this code also, but that is for account, this is for lead. That's it. Nothing different. Now tell me, in this code, do we have any chance to optimize? Whatever the code we have written as of now, do we have any chance to reduce the number of lines of code so that we can reduce the number of characters, so we can reduce the compilation time, execution time, we can improve the application performance also? Any chance to reduce the code? If yes, how? Okay. Then apart from that, instead of printing each and every field value in a separate line, the whole record we can print in one row. Okay, fine. Next. Any more thing to optimize? Hmm. Then any chance to optimize? Now let's see. So in this case here, what we are doing as of now, we are preparing this SOQL query. Once the query has been prepared, the query will be executing this automatically. It will store the records inside the collection. Now, this collection of records we are passing to the for loop. Because these records I want to represent on my debug log file, so this collection I'm passing to my for loop. So, for loop will take this collection, it will iterate the collection from starting to ending. Now tell me, instead of writing this SOQL query separately, instead of using a separate collection, directly can I write this SOQL query in this for loop place? Yes or no? Yes. Hmm. Why? 100 SOQL queries we can use within a transaction. Now, in that case, here observe this one. So that already told you what? Don't write SOQL queries inside the for loop. Inside the for loop means what? In this block, in the braces. Because how many times this a for loop will execute, that will be deciding by this particular collection over here. Okay. Now, in this case, what I want to do is whatever the SOQL query that we have prepared, now this SOQL query I want to write inside this for loop. Inside this for loop. Okay. Now, that means what this is called as a for loop definition. For loop definition. In the for loop definition, we can write it. But don't write this SOQL query in this block. In this block, don't write that here. Okay. So in this case here, if I'm placing this SOQL query inside this for loop, what will happen? In that case, you no need to use any collection. If I'm not using the collection, then memory will not be occupied. So we can save the memory also. Memory consumption will be less. Next, in this case here, whenever I'm writing this SOQL query inside the for loop, then what Salesforce will do? Salesforce is going to be trying to be executing the for loop. Now, in that case, first of all, it will execute this SOQL query here. Now, let me place this code first. I'm replacing this collection with this particular SOQL query. Now, this entire code is not required for me. So that directly we can eliminate. That's it. Okay. Now, in this case, what it will do, whenever it is going to that okay for loop, first of all, it will execute this SOQL query. Whatever the SOQL query that we have prepared, it will be executing this query. It will collect all the records. It will place into a separate collection inside the temporary memory. In the temporary memory, whatever the records written by this SOQL query, those records will store inside the temporary memory over here. Once a records has been placed inside the temporary memory, it will collect the first record, place into the variable, it will print it over here. Then it will collect the second record, place into the variable, it will print the record. Then third record it will collect, place into the variable, it will print. Like that here, all the records will be printing automatically on your debug log file. Clear? This is how it will execute. In the for loop definition, we can write SOQL query, but inside the block, we can't write SOQL query here. Okay, please remember the point. Okay, this is the second way of writing a SOQL query as part of your real-time implementations. Okay, now, so in this case here you can raise a question. Sir, here we are writing a SOQL query inside the for loop. Then by end of that execution, I want to know how many records my query has written. How can we see that? How to see how many records written by SOQL query? We have to go back to debug log file. We can see how. Let me show you with practical. Now I'm invoking this method. Get lead records. Click on execute button. Go back to the debug log file. Now don't select this debug only checkbox. When you come down to the last of the debug log file, at the last of the debug log file, here we can see how many SOQL queries we have used over here. One. How many records my query has written? 24. So there are 24 lead records are available in the lead object which has been written by this SOQL query. Here we can see. Now, here I will show you one more mechanism. Instead of coming to this debug log file at the last, do we have any possibility to see the results through programming itself? Yes, through programming also we can collect. Whatever the governor limits has been given by Salesforce, all the governor limits details are storing inside a class called as limits class. Limits is a standard class given by Salesforce. System.limits. Okay, system.limits. Whatever the governor limits are available, all the governor limits details are available inside this limits class. In this limits class, we are having so many methods to know how many SOQL queries we have used, how many records query has written, how many SOSL queries we have used, how many DML statements we have used, and then how many records a DML statement returns. Everything we can collect through ready-made methods inside this. Now, how can we track? Let me show you. Once the code has been executed, here I would like to print system.debug. Number of SOQL queries used. I would like to show so that we can use system dot limits dot get queries method. Okay, system dot limits dot get queries method. How many SOQL queries we have used? System dot debug dot number of records returned. System dot limits dot get query rows method. There is a method called as get query rows. How many number of rows, how many number of records this query has written. To know that we are using get query rows method. Okay. Now let me save this code. Now let's see. Let me execute this. See the results. Select the debug only checkbox. We can see the record details. Here is the first lead record, second lead record, third lead record. Like that, we can see all the lead records. At the last, we can see number of SOQL queries used. How many? One. How many records this query has written? 24 records. Like that, we can able to track these details by using limits class. You no need to go to the debug log file at the last to see the ground limits which we have used. We can track them through programmatically also by using limits class. Okay. Now make a note of this code. This is the second style. We have one more. We'll see.
Mm, Firoz,
Yes.
here we are using class name database helper for both accounts and lead records, right?
Then because within one class we can prepare n number of methods.
Okay, for each different use cases, we need to be unique, right? Class names.
No, no, yes. Now in that case, here multiple methods we can write within a single class, right? Because
Yeah, yeah.
previously we have discussed listic class. In listic class we have discussed almost 14 methods. Like
Mm-hmm.
that we can prepare multiple methods also. No limitations at all. N number of okay methods we can write within a single class.
Okay, but while saving, is it showing any error or it is
No, no,
saving?
no, 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 no. But this method names you have to make it as different. That's it.
How to save this one? By using class name only, right?
Yes. Control S same.
Okay, is it accepted?
Yes, within the same class we are writing. We are not preparing one more class, right, with the same name.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay, Firoz, thank you.
Hi, Feroz. The SOQL query what you written in the for, if it returns empty rows, then do we get any error message?
No, 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 no. If the query returns zero records, it won't print anything.
Okay.
Done with this? Next. Next. Third use case. Third different style upon writing this SOQL query. Write an Apex program. All the hiring manager records from the object and store them to a map collection and represent the records on the debug log file and represent the records on the debug log file. So whatever the hiring manager records that we have inside this object, all the records I would like to collect, I want to store them to map collection, not list. I want in the form of map. Done with this? Now let's see. How can we write this piece of code? Generally, whenever we are preparing any SOQL query, SOQL query will always return the result in the form of a list collection. But my requirement is what? I want to store them in the form of map collection, where map collection structure is different, list collection structure is different. In map collection, each record will be storing in the form of key value pair, where the record ID will be the key and the complete record will be the value. Okay, now in this case, how can we do that? Now let's see. Here I will show you a lengthy mechanism and I will show you shortcut mechanism also both. Let me go through the lengthy mechanism first. I'm preparing a method. Public static void get all HR records. Get all HR records. So now here I would like to prepare the SOQL query. How to get? Now let's see. Initially, we are going to fetching the data from the object. We need to store them to list collection. From list, we need to copy into map collection here one by one. So I'm preparing this list of hiring manager lsthr records equals to select ID of the hiring manager, name of the hiring manager, location name, designation, contact number, email address from hiring manager. I'm preparing this SOQL query. Now the query will be getting executed automatically. The query will collect all the hiring manager records. It will store them to a list collection. Okay, fine. But I want these records in the form of map. What can I do? So in this case, what needs to be done? First of all, we have to define a map collection. In empty map, we have to define which can store hiring manager records. Now tell me how to define that map collection now. Map of ID. Hmm. Each element is nothing but one HR record. How to store one hiring manager record? By using this hiring manager variable here. So now in this case, map of ID comma hiring manager. Okay, HR records map equals to new map of ID comma hiring manager. So the record ID will be the key and the complete record will be the value. Okay, understood the concept over here? So now we are preparing a map collection over here. Now this map collection will hold the record ID as a key and the complete record will be that value here. Okay, now tell me, is this map collection is holding any records inside that? No, just now we have defined this map collection, so the collection is empty. No records are available. Now what I want to do, I want to copy the records from the list collection to map collection record by record. Because here in this case here, if the record is having, that means if the this is the source where exactly records are available. This is the target or destination where you would like to copy the records. If both are less, directly we can use add all method. But one is a listed type, second one is map type. So what we need to do, we have to collect these records from this collection, iterate this collection from starting to ending, get each record, add it to your map collection. Okay, whatever the listing collection that we have, iterate this listing collection, collect each and every record, place into your map collection. Okay, then how can we do that? Now let's see. I would like to check the condition first. If the listing collection is empty or not. If a list HR records is not empty, that means if the collection is not empty, then I would like to iterate for each and every hiring manager record, HR record from LST HR records. I'm collecting each and every hiring manager record over here. Once a record has been collected, I would like to add to my map collection. How to add an element to the map collection? We are using put method. In this put method, we have to pass the key. What is the key? Record ID. How can we collect this record ID? HR record dot ID. The complete record is what? Hiring manager type. That means HR record. So we have to pass HR record dot ID will be the key and the complete HR record will be the value over here. HR record means hiring manager type. So here the value will be of type hiring manager. So we are passing this complete. Okay, clear now. So now here in this case, as part of this SOQL query, upon fetching the data from the object, I would like to store them to a map collection. But generally, SOQL queries will always returning the results in the form of list collection. So collect the records from the object through an SOQL query, store them to a list collection. Now, to store these records in the form of map, define one empty map collection over here. Once a map collection is ready, then iterate the list collection from starting to ending, collect each record and add it to the map collection by passing the record ID as a key and the complete record as a value. Okay, this is the way we can able to collect that records from the object. We can store them to map collection. Okay, now this is a bit lengthy mechanism here. I will show you a one-line mechanism code. Okay, shortcut mechanism here. How to write this piece of code within one line? Let me show you. Okay, now I'm commenting this code. I don't want to delete this. I would like to comment this code. Maybe in so many places of your implementation, you need this kind of functionalities because we are getting the input in the form of list, but I want in the form of map. Then collect that list, convert it into map over here manually. For that one, this kind of piece of code will be required. Now, in this case, I want to collect all the hiring manager records from the object. I want to store them into the map collection. So define a map collection. Map of ID comma hiring manager. New map of ID comma hiring manager. Okay, now, so once the empty map collection has been defined, in order to collect the records, whatever the SOQL query that you are preparing, just you can able to place the SOQL query in the default constructor part. That means in the braces of that, okay, map collection. In the map collection constructor, place the SOQL query. That's it. Over. Single line. Now, this piece of code, this single line piece of code, this lengthy piece of code, both are same, no change. But that is a lengthy mechanism. There is a shortcut mechanism here. Whenever we are writing the code in the real-time implementation, please follow always optimized mechanism, shortcut mechanisms, because Salesforce has given very limited number of characters to build the business logics. They have given the limitation of 60 lakhs characters code upon writing the code. So that here, always try to follow the optimized mechanism, reduce the number of lines of code so that we can save some characters. With this characters code, we can write some more business logics also, depends upon your need. So that always we have to follow optimized mechanisms. Okay. So in this case, whenever we are writing this SOQL query inside the constructor of this map collection, then what will happen? Map collection constructor will be getting executed first. Whenever it is executing this constructor first, automatically this query will be executed. Once the query has been executed, it will collect the records over here. Those records it will store into the temporary memory here. Once the records has been placed inside the temporary memory, from there it will collect each and every record. It will add the record to that map collection by considering the record ID as a key and the complete record as a value automatically by Salesforce. The whole whatever the logic we have written, that logic will be taken care by Salesforce internally by default for you if you are writing this line. Okay. Now, whenever we are going to the real-time organizations, okay, as a Salesforce developer, upon looking into the existing code which has been prepared by the other developers, these are the three different styles the people will follow while writing the code here. Okay. Now, now, once the records are available inside this map collection, then rest of the story will be same, no change. I want to show how many records my query has written. How do we know? Hmm.
System.limit.get queries.
Map HR records dot size. Okay, now I would like to iterate that here. If the collection is not empty, map HR records is not empty. If the collection is not empty, I would like to collect the records over here. I would like to collect the records. I would like to represent them for each and every hiring manager record. From what? Map HR records. In that case, map HR records is what? It's a map collection. Then here what we need to pass? List collection. Now, what you would like to iterate over here? I'm iterating what? Only hiring manager records. Records are available in the map collection. In which place? In ID's place, that means in the keys place or in the values place. Complete record is available where? In the keys place or values place? Values place. So we need to collect all the values from this map collection. I want to collect all the records. How to collect all the values from the map collection? How to get all the keys? How to get all the keys? There is a method. There is a method. That is to
Con-
add.
Contains key.
I want to get all the element keys.
Hotkey sets.
What is the method?
Contains key.
Key set.
No. To get only the keys, we have a method called as a key set method. To get only the element values, we have values method. So we have to use the map HR records dot values. Okay. So now in this case, what happened? Values method will be returning all the element values. That means all the HR records in the form of list collection. Then from that one, we can collect each and every HR record, and here we can represent the record whatever we want. Now, here I would like to show you the complete HR record over here. System.debug hiring manager record is, I would like to show that complete HR record. Instead of displaying each and every field separately, I'm displaying that complete record over here. Clear? Now, So in this case here, as part of this, we have prepared a map collection. In this map collection class constructor, we are writing this SOQL query. It will execute that SOQL query first, store the records inside the temporary memory. From there, each record will be adding to the map collection automatically. And then from there we can collect the size of this map collection to know how many records written by SOQL query. And then we can check if the collection is empty or not. If the collection is not empty, then I'm collecting all the record values. That means all the records information. And from there I'm collecting each and every record. That record I'm representing on my debug log file. If you want to show each field separately, then you can write HR recorded.id, HR recorded.name, HR recorded designation, like that. Every field name you can print separately, also no issues. Okay, clear? Now, let me execute this. I would like to invoke this method. Get all HR records. Click on execute. Select the debug only. How many records are available total? 262 records are available in my hiring manager object. These are the records are visible. Now this is the first HR record. Okay, ID, name, location, designation, contact number, email ID. Second record details. Third record details. Fourth record, fifth record, sixth record, like that. All the 262 records details you can able to see as part of this debug log file. Clear? These are the three different ways are available in order to prepare your own SOQL query here. Clear? Now, make a note of this code.
Feroz. Excuse me, Feroz.
Yes,
Excuse me, Feroz.
yes, yes, tell me.
Can you explain the previous method, the get all HR record? You put into the slash has, right? The previous one.
No, that is a commented code.
Yeah, commented code.
Okay. In that commented code, what we have written, first of all, I'm preparing this SOQL query. I'm executing it. I'm storing the records to a normal list collection. Then once the records have been placed inside the list collection, then I want to store them to map. So that here I have defined one empty map collection over here. Then once the empty map is available, I'm iterating this holistic collection from starting to ending by using an enhanced for loop. I'm collecting each and every record. That record ID I'm storing to this map collection by using this put method. Because to add each element in the map collection, we need this put method. I'm going to be adding that element. But upon adding the element, we have to pass the key and the value. Key is a record ID, value is a complete record. So that here I'm collecting this HR record ID as a key, the complete record as a value here. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Now make a note of this piece of code. The previous commented code is not required. Just you can write this code. This is the third style. Stuck up somewhere? What? Hmm.
Excuse me, Firoz, can you slide the screen, please?
Mr. Firoz, I have a quick question. If we need to update all the data in the records, do we follow the similar procedure or there is a
No,
different
no, no.
method which we use?
The process will be different. Okay, that will be in DML statements concept. I will show you how to do
Okay.
the update operations.
Oh, okay, sure. Okay. Thank you.
Done with this code? No. No. These are the three different ways are available to prepare your own SOQL queries. Okay, as of now, we have prepared the SOQL queries. We are able to collect all the records from the object. But in some cases, I don't want to fetch all the records. I want to fetch some specific records. Then how to fetch those specific records, how to apply the filters by using various classes given by Salesforce OC, like limit class, offset class, all rows class, for update class, where class, how to use them, we'll see one by one in tomorrow's session. Okay. Now, so do the practice on these features today. Tomorrow we'll see the continuation of this remaining classes to apply the filter conditions. Thank you.